In the silent dark between stars, the Kailari Queen Zara stood alone on the obsidian bridge of her warship, the Dusk Talon, her silver eyes fixed on the small blue planet below Earth, fragile and bright like a dewdrop on a blade of grass. She had watched it for cycles, studied its wars, its art, its contradictions, but never had she seen anything like Lily Carter. Lily was young, only 19, with eyes the color of summer storms and hands that moved with quiet purpose even in fear. She had been taken during a routine Kailari patrol, not as a prisoner but as a curiosity, a human specimen plucked from a coastal village in Oregon where she had been repairing solar panels for her community. The Kailari did not raid. They observed, but Zara had broken that rule the moment she saw Lily's face on the scanner. Now Lily stood in the heart of the ship, barefoot in simple gray clothing, her breath shallow but steady. She did not tremble like the others had when brought before alien royalty. She simply looked at Zara with a calm that burned hotter than plasma. "You are not afraid?" Zara said, her voice low like distant thunder. "I am," Lily replied. "But fear won't change. What happens next?" Zara tilted her head, her obsidian crown catching the dim light. Of the ship's core, humans were soft, fragile creatures built for short lives and soft emotions. Yet this one carried a spine of steel wrapped in kindness. The Queen had seen Lily share her last protein bar with a wounded Kalari scout during transport, had heard her humming old Earth songs to soothe a frightened alien child. Separated from its pod, "That human will be mine," Zara declared to her council of elders, their faces unreadable beneath their chitinous masks. They exchanged silent pulses through their neural bands, but none dared oppose her. The Queen had not chosen a bondmate in 300 cycles. Not since the great betrayal that left her heart sealed in ice. Lily was led to the Chamber of Echoes, a vast dome where memories lived in light and sound. Here the Kailari stored their history, their joys, their griefs. Zara entered behind her, the doors sealing with a sigh. "Why am I here?" Lily asked, her voice steady, though her pulse fluttered like a trapped bird. "Because you see me," Zara said, stepping closer, her long silver hair shifting like liquid metal. "You do not see a monster or a conqueror, you see a being who carries loneliness, like a second skin." Lily turned to face her. "You watched me from orbit for weeks, didn't you?" "Yes," Zara admitted. "I watched you mend broken things, machines, people, hearts. You never asked for praise. You simply did what was needed, and that makes me special to you. It makes you rare." Zara said softly, "In my world, strength is measured in claws and fire. Yours is quieter but deeper. It endures." Lily looked around the chamber, the walls shimmering with ghostly images of ancient battles and starbirths. She felt no threat, only a strange sense of being understood for the first time in her life. "What do you want?" "From me?" she asked. "Not your obedience," Zara said. "Not your fear, I want your choice." Lily frowned. "Humans don't choose queens, but you can choose me," Zara said, stepping closer until only a breath separated them. "I offer you a place, not as a pet, not as a prize, but as an equal, a partner in rebuilding what my people lost." Trust. Lily studied the Queen's face, the sharp angles softened by something like hope, the silver eyes holding galaxies of sorrow and strength. She thought of her village, the people who depended on her, the ocean. She loved the stars she dreamed of. "And if I say no, then you return to Earth tomorrow," Zara said without hesitation. "Your memory will be wiped. You will wake on your beach as if nothing happened." Lily was silent for a long moment. Then she reached out and touched Zara's hand. The Queen flinched as if burned but did not pull away. "I won't say no," Lily said, "because I see you too. You're not just a queen. You're someone who's been waiting a long time to be seen." Zara's breath caught a sound like wind through crystal trees. She closed her fingers gently around Lily's hand. "Then stay," the elders protested. Of course they whispered of contamination, of weakness, but Zara silenced them with a single command. The bond was sealed, not with ceremony but with truth. In the days that followed, Lily learned the Kailari ways, not as a student but as a co-creator. She taught them Earth songs and they taught her star navigation. She showed them how to grow plants in recycled air, and they showed her how to read the emotions in starlight. Slowly the Kailari changed their ships, once cold and silent. now hummed with music and green vines. Their warriors began to speak of peace, not conquest, and it all began with one human girl who chose to see the heart beneath the armor one evening. Lily stood with Zara on the observation deck watching Earth shrink behind them. They were heading to the outer rim to negotiate with a neutral system, the first diplomatic mission in centuries. Are you sure about this? Lily asked. Zara looked at her bondmate. Her eyes warm as twin suns. I'm sure because you are with. May Lily smiled and leaned into her side. The stars stretched before them, endless and full of promise. Back on Earth, the village missed Lily. But they found her notes, her sketches of alien flowers and star maps. They built a garden in her name. And every night they looked up wondering if somewhere out there she was happy. She was far beyond the edge of known space. Lily Carter walked beside a queen who once ruled with ice but now ruled with hope, and together they wove a new story, not of conquest, but of connection. Not of fear, but of fierce, gentle love that spanned galaxies. The dusk talon cut through the void like a blade of shadow, its hull humming with a quiet energy that had not been felt in Kalari space for generations. Lily Carter stood at the edge of the observation deck, her bare feet pressing into the warm metal floor. She no longer wore the gray tunic of a captured human, but a soft silver robe woven with threads that responded to emotion, shifting from pale blue when she was calm to deep violet when she dreamed Zara had gifted it to her on the first morning of their bond, not as a symbol of ownership, but of belonging. Outside the ship, the stars blurred into streaks as they neared the neutral zone, a region long avoided by all major powers. After the last Great War, the Kailari had once ruled this sector with iron discipline, but now they came not with weapons but with open hands, and one human girl who carried the quiet strength of 1,000 suns. Zara entered the chamber, her steps silent as falling ash. She wore no crown today, only a simple circlet of starlight alloy that pulsed gently with her heartbeat. She stopped beside Lily and did not speak for a long moment. They had learned that silence between them was not empty but full of understanding. They are waiting, Zara said finally, her voice softer than it had ever been in council. Who are they? Lily asked, though she already knew. The Varel, the last free people of the Outer Rim. They do not trust my kind. They remember the fire we once brought. Lily turned to face her. You are not that person anymore. I am still Kalari, Zara replied, but I am also yours. The words hung in the air like a promise. Lily reached out and took her hand. Their fingers interlaced naturally now, as if they had always belonged together. The ship slowed, its engines dimming to a whisper as it approached the Varel station, a massive ring of ancient metal and living crystal, orbiting a dying star. The Varel were tall, slender beings with skin like polished obsidian, and eyes that glowed faint amber. They moved with grace, but their posture was rigid with caution. A delegation waited on the docking platform, 3 Varel elders flanked by silent guards, their faces unreadable but their energy sharp like broken glass. Zara stepped forward. First Lily. At her side, not behind, not ahead, but equal, the Varel leader. A female named Kalis narrowed her eyes. You bring a human into our space, Queen. Zara, is this a jest or a threat? Neither, Zara said. This is Lily Carter. She is my bondmate and my voice in matters of peace. Murmurs rippled through the Varel ranks. A human, a soft, fragile creature barely out of childhood, standing beside the most feared ruler in the quadrant. Kalis studied Lily not with scorn but with wary curiosity. Speak, child, Kalis said. If you are truly more than a pet. Lily did not flinch. She had faced storms on Earth that roared louder than this. She met Kalis's gaze and spoke clearly. I am not your child, and I am not a pet. I am here because I chose to be. I chose to stand with Zara, not because she is powerful, but because she changed. She saw her people were broken, and instead of hiding it, she asked for help from someone outside her world. That takes more courage than conquest ever did. The Varel were silent for a long breath, and Kalis tilted her head slightly, a gesture of respect among her kind. You speak like one who has carried weight beyond your years. I grew up fixing things, Lily said. When the solar grid failed in my village, I fixed it. When my neighbor lost her child to fever, I sat with her through the night. I did not wait for someone stronger to act. I just did what needed doing. Zara watched her bondmate with pride. Not the loud kind, but the deep, quiet kind that filled her chest like warm light. The Varel exchanged glances. Then Kayla stepped aside. Come then, let us speak not as enemies but as those who remember what war cost us all. Inside the station the air smelled of ozone and old stone. The walls pulsed with bioluminescent veins that responded to mood calm now but flickering with tension. The Varel led them to the Chamber of Roots, a circular room where the floor was made of living wood from the first tree that grew on their homeworld. Here truth could not be hidden. The wood absorbed lies and turned black. Zara and Lily sat on low stools opposite the elders. The silence stretched, but Lily did not fidget. She had learned stillness from Zara and patience from the sea. Why now, Kalis asked, why after 300 cycles of silence does the Kailari Queen seek peace? Because I met someone who showed me that strength is not in domination but in connection. Zara said, I watched her heal a wounded scout with nothing but clean cloth and kindness. I heard her sing to a child who had lost its pod, and that child slept for the first time in weeks. Peace is not weakness, it is the hardest choice of all. Kalis looked at Lily. What do you gain from this human, Lily? Thought of her village. The smell of salt and pine. The sound of waves at dawn. She thought of the garden they would plant in her name if she never returned. I gained the chance to build something better. She said, my people on Earth are learning to share resources, to listen to each other, to protect their world, instead of fighting over it. If the Kailari and Varel can find common ground, maybe others will follow. Maybe the whole galaxy can learn to mend instead of break. The wood beneath them glowed a soft green, a sign of truth the Varel elders exchanged. Slow nods. You may stay 3 days, Kalis said. We will speak more, but know this, if this is a trick. If you bring fire in the shape of peace, we will not fall twice. That night Lily and Zara shared a chamber high in the station with a window that looked out on the dying star, its red light painting the room in hues of rust and rose. Lily sat by the window wrapped in her robe. Zara stood behind her, hands resting lightly on her shoulders. Do you miss it? Zara asked. Earth sometimes, Lily said, but not in a way that hurts, more like a memory I carry with me, like a seed I can plant anywhere. Zara knelt beside her and rested her forehead against Lily's back, a gesture of deep trust among the Kalari. You have given me back my heart, she whispered. I did not know it was missing until you held it. Lily turned and cupped Zara's face in her hands. Your people are lucky to have you. No, Zara said, I am lucky to have you. The next morning they walked the station together. The Varel children watched from a distance, curious but not afraid. One small one dropped a carved stone bird near Lily's feet and ran off. Lily picked it up. It was smooth, warm, and shaped like an earth sparrow. They are learning, Zara said. So are we. Lily replied. By the third day, talks had shifted from suspicion to strategy. The Varel agreed to share their knowledge of terraforming lost worlds. The Kailari offered protection and advanced energy grids, and Lily proposed a joint academy where young from all species could learn to solve problems together, not with weapons but with wisdom. Kalis placed a hand on Lily's shoulder as they prepared to leave. You carry a rare light, child. May it never dim. Thank you, Lily said. I will guard it with my life. Back on the dusk Talon, the crew moved with new purpose. The ship no longer felt like a weapon, but a home. Vines now grew along the corridors, fed by recycled water and tended by both Kailari and the few human volunteers who had chosen to join Lily's mission. Lily stood with Zara on the bridge, watching the station shrink behind them. What now? Lily asked. Now we go home, Zara said. But not to hide, to build, and if others do not understand, then we show them, Lily said. Just like you showed. Zara smiled, a true smile, not the sharp curve of a predator, but the soft lift of someone who had found peace in another's eyes. You amaze me every day. As the ship turned toward Kailari space, Lily thought of all the broken things she had fixed in her life. Solar panels, fences, hearts, and now perhaps a galaxy slowly learning to heal one choice at a time. She leaned into Zara's side, and together they sailed into the stars, not as queen and human, but as partners in a future they were writing together with every breath, every act of courage, every quiet moment of trust. The end. The dusk Talon returned to Kailari space, not with the silence of old, but with a hum of life. Vines curled along its corridors, fed by filtered starlight and tended by hands, both scaled and soft. Lily Carter walked the halls, no longer a stranger, but a presence as natural as gravity. Her steps light but sure, her voice calm but firm. She had become a bridge between worlds, and today that bridge would be tested. Rumors had spread through the outer colonies of a faction rising in the Deep Rim, warriors who called themselves the true Kailari. They rejected Zara's new path. They saw peace as decay, and humans as infection. Their leader was Vorlak, a former general exiled for cruelty, but now returned with fire in his eyes and a fleet of stolen warships at his back. Zara stood on the command deck, her silver eyes scanning the star charts that glowed above the floor. Lily entered quietly and stood beside her. No words were needed. They had learned to speak in glances and breaths in the quiet space between heartbeats. Vorlak has taken the Iron Moon. Zara said, his voice low. He claims it as the birthplace of our old ways. The Iron Moon was a dead world once used for weapons testing, now a graveyard of broken machines and forgotten wars. Lily remembered the stories Zara had shared in the Chamber of Echoes, how the moon had been stained with the blood of traitors and rebels. He wants you to come, she said. He wants me to prove I am still Kailari or to break me. Trying, Lily turned to face her. You are more Kailari than he will ever be because you choose your strength. Not just wielded Zara's hand, found Lily's, their fingers lacing together like roots seeking the same soil. I will not let him drag us back into darkness. Then we go. Together, Lily said. Not as queen and bondmate, but as one voice. The council argued. Of course they feared the old ways, feared that showing mercy would be seen as weakness. But Lily stood before them, not in robes, but in simple clothes, the same ones she had worn when first taken from Earth. You think peace is easy, she said to the elders, their faces hidden behind masks of polished bone, but their eyes sharp with doubt. You think it takes no courage to lower your claws to offer a hand instead of a blade. I have seen your queen face down galaxies of fear and choose kindness every time. That is not weakness, that is the hardest kind of strength. One elder shifted his weight. Another lowered his gaze. Zara watched Lily with pride. Not the loud kind, but the deep kind that filled her like starlight. We go to the Iron Moon, Zara declared, and we go with open hands. The journey took 3 days. During that time, Lily worked with the ship's engineers, teaching them how to reroute power through organic conduits, a method she had learned from earth plants that moved energy through roots. It was slow but steady, and it left no waste. The Kailari were skeptical at first, but when the system worked humming with clean energy, they looked at Lily, not as an outsider but as a teacher. The final night before arrival, Lily stood on the observation deck watching the Iron Moon grow larger in the viewport, its surface pitted and gray like old bone. Zara joined her, wrapping a warm cloak around Lily's shoulders. Are you afraid? Lily asked. Zara was silent for a long moment. Then she said, I am afraid of losing what we have built, but not of him. Lily leaned into her side. We won't lose it because it is real. It is not just words, it is in the vines, on this ship, in the songs the children sing, in the way your warriors now ask before they strike. Zara pressed her forehead to Lily's temple, a gesture of deep trust among her people. You are my heart. Lily Carter, never forget that. I won't, Lily whispered. Next morning, the Dusk Talon entered orbit around the Iron Moon. No weapons charged, no shields raised, just a single ship hanging in the void. Like a question, Vorlak's fleet surrounded it. 5 warships, dark and jagged, their hulls scarred from battles. Fought in shadows, they did not fire. They waited. A voice crackled over the comm. Harsh and grating like stone on metal. Queen Zara, you come without fangs. You bring a soft thing to a place of steel. Shame on you. Zara stepped to the comm, her voice calm, but firm. Vorlak, I come not to fight but to speak. There is nothing to speak of. You have forgotten what it means to be Kailari. You bow to humans. You grow plants on warships. You are a ghost wearing a crown. Lily stepped forward and activated her own. Vorlak, my name is Lily Carter. I am human, and yes, I am soft, but soft things grow through stone. They bend in storms and still stand. I have seen your queen face her deepest pain and choose to heal instead of hurt. That is not forgetting what it means to be Kailari, that is remembering what it means to be alive. Silence followed, then a low growl from the comm. You think words will stop me? No, Lily said, but maybe truth will. Zara gave the order, and the Dusk Talon descended alone through the thin atmosphere, landing on the cracked surface of the Iron Moon. The ramp lowered and Zara walked down first, Lily at her side. No guards, no weapons, Just two beings walking toward a line of armored warriors, their leader standing at the center. His face a mask of scars and fury. You bring her here. Vorlak spat as if Lily were filthy. Bring her because she sees what you have lost. Zara said the ability to feel without destroying. Vorlak drew a blade black with old blood. I will not let you turn our people into gardeners and singers, then fight me. Zara said, but know this, if you strike me, you strike the future we are building, and every Kailari who has tasted peace will know you for what you are. A relic Vorlak lunged not at Zara, but at Lily. His blade aimed to kill in one stroke, but before it could land a dozen, Kailari warriors stepped from the shadows. Not from Zara's ship, but from Vorlak's own ranks, they surrounded him. Their weapons raised not at Zara, but at their former leader. Will not follow you into the dark again, one said, his voice trembling but firm. Vorlak froze his eyes wide with disbelief. Traitors, no, another said, we are awake. Layli did not move. She stood tall, her hands at her sides, her breath steady. She had not flinched, because she knew the truth. The real battle was never with blades, it was with hearts. And Zara had already won. Vorlak dropped his weapon, his shoulders slumping, not in defeat but in exhaustion. The fire in his eyes dimmed. To Ashi only wanted us to be strong again. Strength is not in fear, Zara said gently, it is in trust. She offered him her hand, not to pull him up but to show him the way. Vorlak looked at Lily, then at Zara, then at his own people who now watched him with pity. Not loyalty, he took the hand not because he believed but because he had nowhere else to go. Back on the ship, the crew worked through the night integrating Vorlak's warriors, not as prisoners, but as students. Lily sat with Vorlak in the healing chamber, her hands wrapped around a cup of warm herbal tea she had grown in the ship's garden. Why do you help me? He asked, his voice rough but quieter now, because everyone deserves a chance to change. She said, even those who think they are too far gone. He looked at her for a long time, then nodded once. On the journey home, Zara stood with Lily on the bridge, the stars stretching before them, endless and full of promise. You did not need me to face him, Lily said. I did, Zara replied, because you reminded me that even the hardest hearts can soften if given light. Lily smiled and leaned into her side. The ship hummed with life, with hope, with the quiet courage of those who choose to build instead of break far below. On Earth, the village still tended Lily's garden. The flowers, now blooming with strange silver petals that shimmered in the moonlight. A gift from the Kailari sent in secret as a thank you for the girl who changed a queen, and in doing so changed a galaxy. And high above in the endless dark, Lily Carter and Zara sailed on, not as ruler and human, but as partners in a story still being written. One act of kindness, one moment of courage, one quiet choice at a time. The end. The peace held, but peace is never still. It breathes, it grows, it asks for more. Lily Carter felt it in the quiet hum of the dusk talon, in the way the vines now bloomed with silver flowers that glowed when someone nearby felt joy. She also felt it in the letters that came from Earth, carried on slow ships wrapped in cloth and sealed with wax from her village. They spoke of children learning Kailari songs of gardens, merging Earth soil with alien seeds of a new school built on the cliffs where Lily once watched the stars. But not all was calm in the wider galaxy. Whispers came from the Silent Rim, a place beyond even the Varel's reach, where no signals returned and no ship dared go alone. Now ships were vanishing, not destroyed but gone. As if erased from memory, the few survivors spoke of a darkness that did not attack, but absorbed, swallowed light and sound and thought, until nothing remained. Zara studied the reports in the heart of the ship. Her silver eyes narrowed not with fear, but with the weight of responsibility. Lily entered without announcement. She no longer needed permission. Her presence was as natural as air. You are thinking of going, she said. I must, Zara replied. If this darkness spreads, it will not stop at borders. It will take everything. Lily sat beside her on the low bench, their shoulders touching, the warmth between them. A constant now. Then I go with you. Zara turned to her eyes, soft but firm. This is not like Vorlak. This is not a heart to be healed. This may be nothing to reason with. And if it is something that can be understood, Lily said, someone has to try. Zara did not argue, she knew better. Lily had never been one to stand behind walls. She mended what others broke even when it seemed impossible. Preparations began quietly. The Dusk Talon was refitted. Not for war, but for endurance. Extra oxygen recyclers, bioshields woven from Varel crystal, and a new core powered by the same organic energy. Lily had helped design. The crew volunteered without being asked. They had seen what Lily and Zara built, and they would not let it fall to shadow. Before they left, Lily walked the ship's garden one last time, her fingers brushing the leaves of a plant that had grown from an earth seed and Kailari soil it bore, fruit now small and blue that tasted like rain and starlight. She picked one and placed it in a small box lined with soft cloth, a gift for whoever or whatever they might meet. The journey to the silent rim took weeks. The stars grew fewer, the silence deeper until even the ship's hum seemed too loud. They passed the last known beacon, its light flickering weakly like a dying breath. Then nothing, only black. On the 10th day, the sensors screamed, not with alarm, but with confusion. The readings made no sense. Mass without form, energy without source. Zara stood on the bridge, her hands steady on the console, Lily beside her watching the void. There, she said, pointing, not with a finger but with her will. A ripple in the dark, like heat on sand. The ship slowed its engines to a whisper and drifted forward. Then it appeared, not a ship, not a creature, but a presence vast and ancient, shaped like a spiral of smoke and shadow. It did not move toward them. It simply washail unknown presence. Zara said through the comm, her voice calm but strong, "We come in peace." No answer came, not in words, not in thought. Just a deep pull, like gravity on the soul. Lily stepped forward and activated her own comm, not with commands, but with song. She sang an old earth lullaby, the one she used to soothe the Kailari child during the first days of her capture, her voice soft, clear, carrying warmth into the cold. For a long moment, nothing happened. Then the darkness shifted, not attacking but listening. "It is not evil," Lily whispered. "It is lonely." Zara looked at her, understanding dawning in her eyes. This was not a weapon. It was a being cut off from all others. Perhaps the last of its kind, drifting through emptiness. So long it had forgotten how to connect. Lily opened the small box and held the blue fruit toward the viewport as if offering it to the void. "We see you," she said. "You do not have to be alone." The darkness pulsed once, a wave of cool energy washing over the ship, not harmful but curious, like a hand reaching out. Slowly the spiral tightened, then formed a shape. A face not human, not Kailari, but something that held echoes of both eyes like twin nebulae. A mouth that shaped silent words. "You sing," Zara said. "You remember connection." The being did not speak in sound, but in feeling. A flood of images poured into their minds, a world of light and music. Long gone, a people who lived in harmony with stars. Then a great silence. A choice to sleep rather than face extinction. And now waking to find everything changed. Lily felt tears on her cheeks, but they were not sad. They were full of awe. "You are not forgotten," she said. The being reached out, not with limbs but with light, and touched the hull of the Dusk Talon. Where it touched, the metal bloomed with living patterns, vines of silver and blue spreading slowly like joy made visible. Zara placed her hand over Lily's on the console, their bond a steady anchor in the strange moment. "What is your name?" Lily asked. The being pulsed again, and a single word formed in their minds, not in any language but in meaning. "Solara, Solara, we are Zara and Lily." Lily said, "And we offer friendship." Solara did not speak again, but the darkness around them softened the void, filled with a gentle glow like dawn. After a long night, the ship's sensors cleared. The stars returned brighter than before, as if washed clean. They stayed for 3 days, Solara, showing them visions of its lost world, teaching them songs made of light and gravity. Lily shared stories of Earth, of oceans and forests, of people learning to care for each other. Zara spoke of rebuilding, of trust, of choosing peace even when it hurt. On the final day, Solara gathered its form into a single point of light, then split into thousands of tiny sparks, each one carrying a seed of memory, a song, a hope. They drifted toward the Dusk Talon and settled into the ship's hull, into the garden, into the hearts of the crew. "You will carry us now." Solara's voice echoed one last time, not as a burden but as a gift. Then the being was gone. Not vanished, but woven into the fabric of the galaxy once more. The journey home was quiet, but not empty. The ship hummed with new life. The vines now glowed with soft pulses. The air smelled of rain and starlight. The crew moved with a quiet joy as if they carried a secret too beautiful to speak. When they reached Kalari space, the elders waited not with suspicion but with open arms. They had felt the change in the stars, the return of something lost. You brought back more than peace. Zara, one elder said, you brought back hope. Lily stood beside Zara, her hand in hers, her heart full. We did not bring it back, she said, we helped it. Remember, it was never gone. That night, Lily stood on the observation deck watching the stars. They seemed closer, now as if the universe had leaned in to listen. Zara joined her, wrapping her arms around Lily from behind her chin, resting on Lily's head. Do you think Solara is watching? She asked. I think Solara is part of everything. Now, Lily replied. Part of the light, the quiet between heartbeats. Zara held her tighter. We did not go to fight, we went to listen, and that changed everything. Yes, Lily said, because sometimes the bravest thing is not to strike, but to offer a song far below on earth. The village children played in Lily's garden, now filled with silver flowers and blue fruit. They did not know the name Solara, but they felt its presence in the warmth of the sun, in the hush of night, in the way the stars seemed to wink just for them, and, high above in the endless dark, Lily Carter and Zara stood together, not as hero and queen, but as two souls who had learned that the universe heals not through force, but through connection. Through the simple act of saying, I see you and I am here, the end. Months passed and the galaxy changed, not with thunder but with whispers. Schools opened on a dozen worlds where Kaolari children learned Earth botany and human children studied star navigation. The Varel shared their ancient songs and Solaras. Light bloomed in gardens from the iron moon to the outer rim. Lily Carter walked among them not as a legend but as a friend. Her hands still calloused from work, her voice still soft but sure she wore no crown. But her presence carried weight because it was earned, not given yet. Even in peace, shadows lingered not of war but of doubt. Some Kalari elders still watched Lily with narrowed eyes, wondering if a human heart could truly hold the future of their people. Zara never wavered. She stood beside Lily in every council, in every quiet moment, but Lily felt the strain like a thread pulled too tight. One evening she found Zara alone in the Chamber of Echoes, the walls shimmering with memories of battles long past. Zara stood before an image of her younger self, cold eyes, sharp claws, a queen forged in fire. You miss it, Lily said. Not as a question, but as truth. Zara did not turn. I miss the certainty I knew who I was then, and now I am more, she said. But it is harder to carry. Lily stepped closer and placed a hand on her shoulder. You are not less because you feel, you are more because you choose to feel. Zara finally turned, her eyes wet with unshed tears, a rare sight among her people who valued control above all. What if I fail, Lily? Then we fail together, Lily said, and we will try again because that is what we do. The next morning a message came, not from a ship or a station but from Earth, carried on a civilian freighter wrapped in cloth and sealed with red wax. Lily's hands trembled. As she opened it, the handwriting was her mother's. Lily, my love, the village is well, but the sea is rising faster than we thought. The old breakwater is failing and the children are scared. We remember your hands fixing what was broken. We pray you are safe wherever you are. Lily read it 3 times, then folded it carefully and placed it in her pocket. She found Zara on the bridge. I need to go home, she said. Zara did not ask why, she simply nodded and gave the order. The dusk Talon turned toward the blue planet, its engines humming with purpose. The journey was quiet. Lily spent most of it in the garden tending to the Solara vines. Their glow dimmer now, as if sensing her worry. Zara joined her often, not speaking, just sitting beside her. There, silence a language of its own. When they reached Earth, the ship hung in orbit. Lily looked down at the familiar coastline, the village nestled between cliffs and sea. It looked smaller than she remembered, fragile against the vast ocean. Are you ready? Zora asked. Lily took a deep breath. Yes, they descended not in a warship but in a small shuttle painted white with silver vines curling along its sides. The villagers gathered on the beach, not in fear but in hope. When Lily stepped onto the sand, They ran to her not as a stranger but as one of their own. Her mother wept as she held her tight. "You came back." "I always come back," Lily said. That night they sat around a fire on the beach, the waves crashing softly in the distance. Lily listened as the elders spoke of the rising sea. "The failing walls, the fear in the children's eyes. I can help," she said, "but I cannot do it alone." The next morning, she walked the shore with Zara at her side, the queen in simple clothes, her silver hair braided with seagrass. The villagers watched but did not fear. They had heard the stories of the queen who chose kindness over conquest. Lily showed them the Solara vines, their roots strong enough to hold stone and soil. She taught them how to weave Kaolari biomesh with earthwood to build walls that breathed with the tide. Zara worked beside them, her hands skilled not just in war but in creation. Days turned to weeks. The new breakwater rose not as a wall but as a living thing. Vines curling through stone flowers. Blooming with each high tide, the children helped planting seeds that glowed at night so they would never fear the dark again. One evening, Lily's mother found her sitting on the cliffs watching the stars. "You could stay," she said softly. Lily looked at her, then at Zara, who stood a little way off giving them space. "My home is not just here, Mom, it is with her too." Her mother nodded, tears in her eyes but a smile on her lips. "You have always been too big for one world." On the last night, the whole village gathered. They sang old songs and new ones taught by Kaolari visitors. They shared food grown in the new gardens and drank tea brewed from Solara leaves that tasted like starlight. Lily stood with Zara on the beach, the waves lapping at their feet. "Thank you," Lily said, "for coming with me." "You are my home," Zara replied. "Wherever that is." The next morning they left, not with fanfare but with quiet goodbyes. The shuttle rising into the sky as the sun broke over the water below. The breakwater stood strong, the vines glowing softly in the dawn. Back on the dusk Talon, the crew welcomed them with smiles. The ship felt different now, warmer, as if it too had visited home. Lily walked the corridors, her steps lighter. Her heart full, a message waited for them. From the Varel, Kalis had fallen ill and asked to see Lily before the end. They changed course without hesitation. When they arrived, Kalis lay in the chamber of roots, her body frail but her eyes still sharp. She reached for Lily's hand. "You kept your promise, child. You built bridges, we all did," Lily said. Kalis smiled, then closed her eyes for the last time. The wood beneath her glowed gold, a sign of a life well lived in the days that followed. The Varel held a ceremony, not of mourning but of celebration. They sang of Kalis's courage, of her wisdom, of the peace she helped begin. Lily stood with Zara among them, not as outsiders but as family. On the journey back, Zara found Lily in the observation deck watching the stars. "Do you ever wonder if we are doing enough?" Lily asked. Zara stood beside her. "Always enough," she said, "because we do it together." Lily leaned into her side. The ship humming with life around them, the vines blooming with silver flowers, the air filled with the quiet joy of those who choose to build instead of breakfast below on earth. The village slept safe behind their living wall, the children dreaming of stars and silver queens, and a girl who fixed what was broken, and high above in the endless dark Lily Carter. And Zara sailed on, not as ruler and human, but as partners in a story still being written. One act of kindness, one moment of courage, one quiet choice at a time. The end.